Today I'm going to talk about my two books, my connection with my two books, and how I would do this with my children and in my class. I have the Great Big Book of Families, and I have Just Because. And first of all, I discuss the front illustrations. I would say to the children, what is the same and what is different? What can you tell me about the front of this? What do you think of the illustration? What does it mean? What do you think the story is going to be about? And then I would look on here and I'd say, what do you see similar? You see two children here, and that would be brother and sister. And then this family here, there are brothers and sisters in this family, so both books are about family. And I would open up the covers, the very front page, where it says, I'd say look at the illustrations of the mom, the dad, the brother and sister, and how it reads, once upon a time, most families in books look like this. But in real life, families come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And the similarity would be the brother and sister in the story. I would open this up and read my first page. My big sister Clemmy is my best friend. She can't walk, talk, move around much. And it says she can't do much. I don't know why, just because. But there is our brother and sister, and I would ask them to look at the illustrations and ask them, what kind of chair is she sitting in? Do you know the name of that chair? Do you know why she's sitting in that chair? And I would go through the story and talk about that so that they get their vocabulary in about what is a wheelchair, what is a disability. And if we didn't do that, they wouldn't understand. It has to come from somewhere, and what better than a book that your teacher is reading and you're understanding every part of it. I'd go through the illustrations with them. I'd go through family, like in this, lots of children live with their mommy and daddy. And it shows the different types of family members. And this book does also. Here's our brother and sister. They are at the beach. And Toby says, she looks like a princess. They don't have to do much either. They can just sit and look pretty just because. And you'd see her at the beach, brother and sister. And then I would turn to another part in the book about, there's a part about, they call it holidays, because the writer is obviously from England, but we would call it a vacation. But here is a brother and sister at the beach also. And I would point out the illustration and I would say, do you know what this is? Do you think it's similar to a wheelchair? And it's called a walker. There'd be some more vocabulary being used. And I would explain that a walker and a wheelchair are for people with disabilities to help them get around. So that's another word to learn. Another word is sibling. Some children don't understand the word sibling. They know brother and sister, but we don't really use sibling that much. So I would do that. And we would also go through some other areas in the book. When you talk about feelings, it says in some families, everyone shares their feelings. Other people are more shy, or perhaps they just like to keep their feelings to themselves. Sometimes not everyone in the family feels the same way about feelings. So, we can also go to a portion in Just Because where Toby is scared of thunderstorms. So that is something else that goes together, and talking about feelings with the siblings in the book. After I would get through to the book, I'd say, get to the end, I'd say, what do you think is going to happen? And I'd make sure they examine the illustrations. How are they the same? How are they different? How do they look the same and different? Because it's different illustrators for each book. And I would hold up the books after I read the story. I'd hold up the books and ask the students, you know, what was your favorite character in each book? Why was that your favorite character? Which story did you like the best and why? Ask them, how are the stories the same? How are the stories different? And then I would discuss, I would have the students do some dramatic play, and you could act like the adventures that Clemmy and Toby had in every page of the book. And then I could also want to zone in on the picture of the rocket with her wheelchair. That is like really something to discuss, and that is how I would end that. Thank you.